Okay.
Good to go.
Okay, good morning. Do I have everyone here? I can only see one picture at a time or one camera at a time.
I'm here.
Chair,
Okay,
if you
yes,
click
I
on your
see.
screen, you can do a view and you can switch it to gallery view. That will allow you to see everyone.
Okay. Well, okay, never mind. It's not going right here, but okay. Good morning. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Hawaii State Ethics Commission. Today's November 17th, 2021, and the time is 9:07. For our minutes, I'd like to note all the participants on this meeting. I'm Commissioner Chair Wood. Vice Chair Fong, are you present? Sorry, I can't talk today. Commissioner Geralty.
Here.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Here.
And Commissioner Tobias.
Here.
I'll also note the presence of staff. We have Executive Director Gluck, Associate Director Yoza, Staff Attorneys Chalk, Knifer, and Campbell, and Computer Specialist Patrick Louie. Are there any members of the public joining us who'd like to identify themselves at this time?
Morning, Chair, Commissioners, Sandy Ma, Hukun Cause Hawaii.
Thank you for joining us.
And
Anyone else?
my apologies, Chair. Staff Attorney Chalk is not with us today. I think I used an old version of your script again, so she's not.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You just want her to be here forever. Okay. So agenda for today. First on the agenda is the minutes from the October 15th Sunshine Law meeting. Do the commissioners have any other comments or corrections to the minutes? Does any member of the public wish to testify on the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 15, 2021 meeting?
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. So we'll do the roll call vote. Vice Chair Fong.
Aye.
Commissioner Geralty.
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Aye.
Commissioner Tobias.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Okay, so we will move on to agenda item 2, which is the executive session minutes from the October 15th meeting. Do the commissioners have any comments or corrections to those minutes? No? Does any member of the public wish to testify on this item? No? So may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the executive session minutes of the October 15, 2021 meeting? Do I hear a second? Oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Second. Any seconding?
Second.
Thank you. So the roll call vote, Vice Chair Fong.
Aye.
Commissioner Geralty.
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Aye.
Commissioner Tobias.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, so we will move on to agenda item 3. Okay, which is the minutes of the October 27th Sunshine meeting. Do the commissioners have any comments or corrections to the minutes? Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Tobias.
I think on this sunshine law, you were referred to as Vice Chair Wood on page 7, page 15, and page 24. I hope your status hasn't changed.
thank you. No, I'm still the chair.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out.
No problem.
Okay. Has that correction been noted?
Yes, Chair, apologies for the error.
Oh, thank you. No problem. Does any member of the public wish to testify on this item? No. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 27th, 2021 meeting?
So moved.
Madam Chair, I'd like to, if I may, approve the minutes of October 27th as corrected.
Thank you. Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. A little confusion there, but Wes has moved to approve the minutes with corrections, and Commissioner McCarthy has seconded them, so we'll do the roll call vote. Vice Chair Fong.
Aye.
Commissioner Gralty.
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Aye.
And Commissioner Tobias.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you for your attentiveness to these details. So we will move on to agenda item 4, which is the executive session minutes from the October 27th, 2021 meeting. Do the commissioners have any other comments or corrections to those minutes? Okay, hearing none. Does any member of the public wish to testify on this item? Okay, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 27, 2021 meeting?
So
So
moved.
moved.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. So we'll do the roll call vote. Vice Chair Fong,
Aye.
Commissioner Gralty,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Aye.
and Commissioner Tobias.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We will move on to agenda item 5, which is the consideration and approval of the minutes of the October 29th, 2021 meeting. Do the commissioners have any other comments or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, does any member of the public wish to testify on this item? May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 29, 2021 meeting?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Vice Chair Fong,
Aye.
Commissioner Gralty,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Aye.
Commissioner Tobias,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. So we will move on to agenda item 6, which is a consideration and approval of the executive session minutes of the October 29th. Yes, October 29th, 2021 meeting. Do the commissioners have any other comments or corrections to those minutes? No. Does any member of the public wish to testify on this item? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 29, 2021 executive session minutes?
So moved. Second.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we'll do the roll call vote. Vice Chair Fong,
Aye.
Commissioner Gralty,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Aye.
Commissioner Tobias,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. So we will move on to agenda item 7, We were very busy in this last month here, which was the November 1st Sunshine Meeting, consideration and approval of the minutes. Do the commissioners have any comments or corrections to the minutes for the November 1st, 2021 meeting? No. Does any member of the public wish to testify on this item? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 1st, 2021 meeting?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, that was you, Wes, that seconded?
yes.
Okay, so we'll do the roll call vote. Vice Chair Fong,
Aye.
Commissioner Gralty,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Aye.
Commissioner Tobias,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. So we will move on to agenda 8, which is the consideration and approval of the executive session minutes of the November 1, 2021 meeting. Do the commissioners have any other comments or corrections to the minutes? Does any member of the public wish to testify on this item? May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 1st, 2021 executive session meeting minutes?
So moved. I'll second.
Okay, thank you. So we'll do the roll call vote. Vice Chair Fong,
Aye.
Commissioner Gralty,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Tobias.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And the chair votes aye. So we will move on to agenda item 9, which is the executive director's report. So
Thank
take
you
it
very
away,
much, Chair.
Jane.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Okay, so we've attached our statistics for the month for training and also guidance and assignment statistics. So you have that all there, and I'm available for questions if you would like. The one thing I wanted to pin down is item number 3 on the COGO conference. I know we've discussed this a little bit in past meetings, and I don't know that anyone had made a firm decision one way or the other. Again, the COGO conference is going to be completely virtual this year. It is a $400 registration fee. We have budgeted, at least for one person, if one person would like to go. If more would like to go, we can probably find some funds to do that. So I wanted to find out from the commissioners whether any of you all would like to attend.
Have you found out if the lobbying panel is going to happen or not?
The one that you were supposed to be on?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they had emailed ages ago saying that, no, that was canceled. So I'm sorry for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking, but I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure. So I don't need to participate in the interest of saving some money. Let a couple of these staff participate.
Yeah, I don't think
If
any of
they-
the staff are planning to go. So again, if the commissioners feel like it would be helpful to attend, we can certainly make that happen.
Dan, do you recommend that someone go from our office to the COGO? I mean, it's $400, I'd like to save that money unless it's really imperative that somebody goes.
I don't feel strongly one way or the other, honestly, Vice Chair. So, I mean, you've got the agendas. I think they've been sending them out. So if you think it would be helpful in performing your job, then please feel free.
Well, may I make a suggestion that the commissioners look over the agenda again? It's been a long time since I reviewed it. And if any one of the commissioners is interested, then give a deadline for them to see yay or nay, or yay rather. Is that okay, Madam Chair?
Sure, that sounds good to me. And I was thinking if anybody would be most interested, I'm thinking about our two new commissioners. Maybe they would like to participate. But that's entirely up to you. I think you can just contact Dan if you are interested in participating.
You know, I've looked
'Cause
over
I
the
know-
agenda and it looks very
Uh-huh.
interesting and I'm sure I could benefit from it. But maybe next year, if there's going to be a conference, then I think I'll pass on it this year.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not sure I
Commissioner
know enough
Tobias, I'm
to,
not putting you on.
I'm not sure I know enough to think about spending $400, but if it's warranted, I can attend, but I'm not real thrilled about it. I'd rather learn about this commission first.
Okay, that's fair. Well, unless you change your mind, I guess we have just saved the office some money there, so that's a good thing. And maybe next year. And I gotta say, I think going in person is probably much better than doing it virtually, because then you get to meet people and talk to them, and that's a plus. So,
Just
Okay.
curious, have other commissioners, other members of staff attended a COGO conference in the past? And if so, what was their experience like?
Well, I'll speak first. Yes, actually, I'll let Ray speak first. He's been in more COGO conferences than I. And I found it beneficial depending on the topic. Okay, some of the topics just bored the heck out of me. But Ray, I'll turn that over. He's been to every conference.
I think that some are better than others because of the subject matter. I particularly like the one in Chicago. The one in New Orleans was also very good. Philadelphia, not so good. I guess it depends on what kind of speakers they have. The one in Toronto was I thought, very good, probably the best. But it depends. It's really difficult for them to put on a good conference these days because of COVID. But you can gain something if at the very least meeting other commissioners, exchanging stories. They used to have this system where you could have meals together and exchange ideas that way. But the participation seems to have waned. People would rather go eat out on their own rather than sitting with a bunch of people, other people, to talk about ethics. I guess it's just not juicy enough at lunchtime or dinner time.
Okay.
But we Hawaii people, both the Campaign Spending Commission and the Ethics Commission, make it a point to get together at least once, usually towards the end of the conference, so we can talk story about what we heard and learned. But I think because of the COVID situation, it's not like it used to be. That's my opinion. And I think we need to wait a couple more sessions before it gets back to the way it was.
I'll echo what Ray says, and what I took off on it because I went to a couple is the interaction that you have with the speaker and the other commissioners. And it was interesting what some of these other commissions throughout the United States are doing and how big the office are and how seriously they take ethics. We learned that some of these state ethics commissions had like only 1 or 2 people. It's interesting. But I think you get more bang for your buck if you're in person. That's my impression. And, you know, as I said before, you're networking. You get to ask questions of the speaker and you can participate. Aside from the fact that when you get to meet everybody else is, I think is important. I for one would not want to go on this conference unless there's a topic that's of interest. And if you can send me the agenda, I want to look it over one more time. But my inclination is I would rather just wait until it's in person. But my next very pragmatic question is, if we don't use it, do we lose it, Dan?
No, the money that we had paid for the chair to attend in person was automatically refunded when they went virtual. So we can pay for a registration if we want to, but there's nothing on the line if we don't.
So the money would go back into our coffers.
That's right.
Well, and I attended a couple of them, and frankly, I gotta say, they usually pick cities that are cold, and it's in December, and that way you stay and go to more sessions, and we nearly froze to death going out to our Hawaiʻi dinner one year, but we survived. And the sessions are pretty interesting to me as a lay person. And it's good to know that in a lot of ways, Hawaii is doing pretty well compared to a lot of other states that have had some really sort of shocking challenges. So it's kind of good to know that we're doing all right. And in fact, we were asked to send somebody to, they were going to do a panel on lobbying this year. And the organizers contacted Dan because we did pass a good lobbying law, I guess last year, yeah. And they wanted somebody to talk about that. And I would be the least qualified person probably on the commission, but I know that I would gather the information and do a decent presentation on how we managed to get our lobbying law strengthened and passed this past year. But they're not going to do that panel after all, so no need. I do recommend that someone try and go. I agree that in person is much better than virtual, so hopefully next year somebody will be willing and able to go. They haven't said anything about where it will be, and that kind of makes a difference too. Where did we go? Philadelphia and Chicago?
Yes, Toronto, New Orleans.
Well, those are okay places, but the two I went to were, I think, the Windy City and Philadelphia, both places that, well, you know, if they're doing it in December, they expect everybody to actually attend the conference because it was too cold to go out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let me make a comment for Harry and Bev. You're probably wondering, like when I wondered, why do they have these conferences in January or December or February when it's freezing on the mainland? And the retort was, we're trying to save money. It's the cheapest part of the year to go during winter. And I said, that's great, but never took in consideration the guys from Hawaii.
They're being ethical by saving the organization some money.
So we sacrifice.
Okay.
One of these years they'll have it in Hawaii.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder when that day will come. That's called a boondoggle.
Yeah. Nobody comes.
Okay.
Criticized.
Well, nothing else being worth commenting on about the COGO conference. Let us move on to agenda item 9. Dan, would you like to do your executive?
Sure. Thank you, Chair. So just the last item under the Executive Director's report was just miscellaneous. And I think the only things I have to report are that number one, Ginny, Chalk, and I have both been busy trying to clear out and organize our old files. It's taking Ginny a while because she's got quite a bit of paper in her office. So she's working on that. So we will have an opening for a staff attorney, and we intend to post that job opening right around the 1st of December. The new executive director will be making that hiring decision. So I wanted to sort of push that off a little bit. And Chair, if I may sort of segue right into agenda item 10 on the update regarding hiring.
Yes,
thank you. So as you all know, the commission made an offer to someone. That person accepted. That person is still trying to wrap up their current work and then have a short time off with family before starting. That person's first day is intended to be Monday, January 3rd, so right after the first of the year. And they wanted to wait to make an official announcement until that time so that they can do interviews and responses to press while they're on the job rather than having to scramble while they're on vacation or whatnot. I obviously wanted to speak with all of you and make sure that was all okay, but I have not been releasing the name to anybody as of yet. But I have had meetings with the person. I know that the new ED has had meetings with other staff as well and starting to get up to speed. Including talked about the proposed budget for next year and proposed legislation for next year, the next two items on the agenda. So I think everything is going well. I'm excited for this person to come in. This person's excited as well. So I think it's going to be a great fit all around.
Dan, can you tell us your last day if you know it?
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to. Yeah, so my intention right now is to have next month's commission meeting, the 15th of December, to have that be my last day and then take vacation for the remainder of December. Again, if the commission would like, I can certainly leave sooner than that, but I thought I could at least stick around and help with attorney of the day and other items of the office.
No, we don't want you to go any sooner than that, Dan.
Well, thank you.
Yes, that's very, very good of you to be willing to stay that long. And I'm sure that the office through the holidays will be able to manage just fine while you're on vacation or whatever you're going to call it for those last 2 weeks.
And I will note that Key has graciously agreed to be available the entire week between Christmas and New Year's when a lot of other staff will be on vacation. So the office will be still fully functional, and thank him for that.
Okay, so are you going to take any vacation? Is vacation time for those 2 weeks, or you're just leaving as of the 15th?
My intention is just to have the 15th be my last day and then use up my remaining vacation time that will take me through the end of the calendar year. I should note also some departments have policies that if you're taking vacation sort of on your way out, that you have to come in for one last work day as your final day before you go. I have not had that as part of the office. I didn't really see it was particularly necessary, but obviously if the commission wants me to come back or to have Ginny come back for a day at the end, we can do that too.
Personally, I don't think that would be very nice. So does anyone have any objections to Dan's plan to just after the 15th, take his vacation time and be done?
I think that would be fine.
All right, thank you all.
Yes, other than saying you will be greatly missed, I think that's a good plan for you and for the office.
Great, thank you.
Okay, well, the next item on the agenda is the proposed budget.
Sandy had a question.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners.
Sorry.
I just raised it. Thank you, Chair. I have a quick question about the incoming executive director of the commission. Can you let us know if it's someone within government or outside of government, if that's possible?
Dan, would you like to say anything?
I think we can disclose at least that it's someone who is in Hawaii already and someone who is not currently in state government.
Thank you.
You'll be among the first to know when the announcement is made, Sandy. I know you're eager to find out so you can start conversing with this person. We'll keep you posted. Dan, do you want to say anything about the proposed budget?
Sure, thank you, Chair. So I still don't know from the legislature what they intend to do regarding budget for next year. I think certainly they want to restore the 8% cuts that we had from last year, but I don't know whether they're intending to go above what we had for the 2020 to 2021 fiscal year. So right now I've put some things in there that would be sort of best case scenario, which would include salary increases for staff, as well as a one-time $75,000 request to replace all our computer servers. Again, I don't know what's possible. So I think we're probably just going to send in the budget and see what they do with it. The legislature will come back and tell us if we need to cut, and we can do that. But I think and I've discussed this with the new ED, the staff salaries have been stagnant for a number of years now. Currently, they're operating on salaries that were or should have been in effect as of 2019. So they're going to be 3 years behind already. And I think they're also significantly behind both the Attorney General's office and Corp Counsel over at the city. So that's a big priority for me. I know that new ED also thinks very strongly that we need to support staff and have them compensated fairly. So that's the only real big thing, or the two big things, again, the salary increases and the servers. Right now it's kind of a placeholder budget because I don't know what the legislature wants to do, but if the commission has any other thoughts, we can certainly adjust it.
Thank you. Any comments from any commissioners? No. So the next item on the agenda, item 12, is proposed legislation.
Yeah, if I may, Chair, do we need, sorry, Susan, do we need a vote on the budget? Yes, okay. Sorry, Chair, can we get a vote to approve the proposed budget?
Oh, okay.
And this will be, this may be subject to some small tweaks within the next couple of weeks, but this is as the sort of general framework.
Okay, so I guess we need a motion to approve the proposed budget as presented by Dan. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. So we'll do the roll call vote. Vice Chair Fong.
Aye.
Commissioner Gralty.
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Aye.
And Commissioner Tobias.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So there's the approval that you need there, Dan. So we
Thank
are
you, Chair.
good. So any proposed legislation?
Thank you, Chair. So this is actually modeled after a bill that the commission had looked at, I think, a year or two ago. As you know, currently there are a small number of state officials who are required to take ethics training. It's limited to legislators, OHA trustees, department directors, and a small handful of others. Most state employees aren't. And as you also know, one of the most common defenses we get when there are enforcement actions is, well, I didn't know that this was a violation. So staff is interested in pushing some legislation that would require some ethics training for all state employees. And we've had a lot of discussions internally about how to manage and administer this. And so the proposal that we have before you splits employees into two classes. Again, there's a pretty small number of people, basically everyone whose financial disclosure statement is public, and a small handful of others, so that would be a couple hundred people, would be required to take a live training with an actual person where there would be a Q&A and that would be interactive. And everybody else who's a state employee or board commission member would be required to take the online 30-minute module that we have. And the requirement would be to take that within 90 days of starting, and then once every 4 years thereafter. And for existing employees, it would be to take it once every 4 years, starting from the time of that the law goes into effect. I talked about this with the new ED, and their suggestion was that we bump the effective date of the bill by a year. to give us kind of a year to get ramped up, do outreach to the unions and other things like that. Bonita and Patrick and I were discussing just other logistics. You know, my intention on this bill is that we're never going to get 100% compliance, right? You know, you all see how hard the staff works to get 100% compliance on the financial disclosure statements, and that's about 1,800 people. Now we're talking 50 to 60,000 state employees who would be required to do it. But I think if we have a basis on which to say that state employees are required to take some training, I think we can get the number of people who are exposed to something from our office. I think we can get that up to much, much higher than it currently is, even if it never gets to 100%. This bill, again, I think there's going to be more changes, but we'd still like the commission's first thoughts on whether we ought to change any language as it exists currently, other than the effective date, which I plan to change, and whether you support going ahead with it.
The status of it right now, Dan, is that it is in a draft form. Is that correct?
Yes.
To be presented to, once it's finalized, to be presented to the legislature for review and committee.
That's right. So there are basically two processes by which we can get the bill introduced. The first is that either the speaker or the Senate president or both will introduce the bill by request as part of the non-administration bill package. So any legislative agencies and others can just submit their bills and they'll just be introduced as a matter of form. Usually we do that, and also we try to find a representative and or a senator to introduce it under their own name and see if they can support it as well. So usually our bills are introduced 2, 3, or 4 times, like the exact same bill each session.
And is this going, how much is this going to cost? Because as I understand it now, the legislature is not doing a whole lot of passage of anything that costs any amount of money. And so do we have a possible impact on what this is going to cost to train those 56,000 people?
Yeah, so there's no appropriation attached to the bill. So from the legislature's perspective, it shouldn't cost anything. From the Ethics Commission's perspective, most of the trainees are going to be taking the online system, which is just available on demand and costs no more money for 10,000 people to take it than for 2 people to take it. The live training, again, we already train between 1,500 and 2,500 people a year in live sessions. I don't imagine that this would impact our operations that much. If anything, we might have a couple more live trainings, but it probably will just result in slightly larger audiences for the trainings that we're already doing. I think the cost impact on our office is going to be just on keeping track to notify people who are state employees who are required to take the training, and then keeping track of those who have taken it. Again, I've been talking with Bonita and also with Patrick, and we think we can do that. In a perfect world, the legislature would give us, $1 million to build out a really nice new database to track everybody, but I think we can get by with what we have.
Well, I think it's a great concept and a great idea, but the number of people involved, I mean, you can just envision that there would be, it'd be almost hopeless to try to do any type of enforcement type of action,
Yeah, my thought is that really, we start off with being able to tell state employees you're required to take this training. And so we get a little bit more buy-in by the agencies to require their employees to do it. And so we get more people to take it. That's on the notification side. And then on the back end, if we or when we get people who are otherwise involved in enforcement proceedings, we can then look up, all right, did that person receive notice of training, and did that person actually receive training? I don't know that it really makes a difference either way. Already it's not a defense to a violation of the ethics code that you didn't know that you were violating the law. And if we actually put a provision in the statute that says, failure to have received notice of the training requirement is not a defense to a violation of the ethics code, because we didn't want people to say, well, the Ethics Commission is required to notify me that I have to get training, and they never did, so therefore I can do whatever I want with impunity. So Again, the legislature may have concerns about that, but it's already the case that ignorance is not a defense. But we think that promoting the education will help.
Again, looking down the road a bit on something like this, is it possible to kind of delegate to the particular agencies or departments for them to be kind of to do the monitoring on this rather than placing that burden on the commission, which it would be a very difficult, onerous burden to carry, I think, you know?
Yeah, and we had talked about that as well. I think my concern is that if our legislation starts requiring other agencies to do work, then they may come out in opposition to our legislation. And so there's a statutory provision already that requires other agencies to cooperate with the commission and its work. And in this particular bill, the other agencies are required to assist the commission in providing email addresses of employees, and even they can send out to their employees the notice that we can draft for them. So I think we'll get that cooperation. I just don't want to put it in statute that they're required to do more work, because anytime the legislature starts telling other agencies to do more work, they start getting really nervous.
I hear you.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it's worth at least trying to get the ball rolling. We don't know how it will actually pan out, but I think that once every 4 years is a sort of a bare minimum, because, you know, the state has a lot of employees that have been there for their 20 plus years, and you kind of wonder when they last had some ethics training.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
No, and again, Chair, I think if there's a motion that would be helpful for us, please.
Okay.
And I think Ms. Ma has a question, yeah.
I was going to ask, yes, if we should let Sandy talk before we do a motion here.
Thank you. Sandy Ma with Common Cause. We definitely support mandatory training for all government employees with the state. We would support training more than once every 4 years, but we understand the logistical difficulties, and we would actually support penalties, however minor, for those who do not undergo the mandatory trainings. But we would support this measure. Thank you.
All right, great. It's always good to have a little public support on our efforts here. So let's see. Could I have a motion to, I guess, affirm our agreement to, how would I phrase this? A motion to support training once every 4 years at a minimum for state employees. Can I have a motion? Okay. And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, that wasn't very enthusiastic. But that's okay. So we will do a vote. Vice Chair Fong.
Aye.
Commissioner Gralty.
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Aye.
Commissioner Tobias.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We are all for
Mandatory.
keeping people as ethical as possible. So the motion passes. And I hope that was sufficient, Dan.
Yes, Chair, thank you very much.
Okay. As I stumbled over the words, what we should have. And the next agenda item is number 13, which is Akana versus Hawaii State Ethics Commission and Daniel Gluck.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. No updates on the case.
Okay. So, our next item is adjournment.
Madam Chair, before we adjourn, Dan, where are we in this Akana case?
Same place we've been for the last year and a half, Vice Chair. So the briefing is all done with the ICA, and we're just waiting for the ICA to issue a decision.
all the briefs have been filed. We're just waiting for a decision.
Yeah, I think actually briefing was done last year, June or thereabouts.
Has oral argument been held?
No, and I actually don't know whether they sent out a notice for oral argument, but the ICA, you can request oral arguments, but it's not, the ICA just doesn't hold oral argument very often.
Oh, interesting.
So do
Yeah,
you
I mean, it's
anticipate-
like, it's fewer than 5 times a year.
Uh-huh.
I know it's trying to be clairvoyant, but do you anticipate if the Akana loses that she'd go for a writ of certiorari to go to the Supreme Court?
I would put money on it, yeah.
Well, we're
You'll
gonna
be long
around a
gone
long
for
time.
this.
All right.
Reason enough to get out of town, Dan.
Part of Dan's legacy.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so may I have a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, before we adjourn, may I just say something a little more mundane? To the commission, a belated happy Veterans Day, and I wanted to thank. I think I only know 2 individuals have served. That's Bev, thank you for your service, and Ray,
welcome.
thank you for your service. I don't know if anybody else served besides myself, so happy Thanksgiving. Happy Veterans Day, and I was gonna say happy Thanksgiving, just for the record.
And to you
They
as
should go
well.
hand in hand, but no, they don't. That's all.
Yes. We should
And
all
to
be
you as well.
thankful. We have much to be thankful for as this year is wrapping up. So may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. I'll second.
Okay, thank you. The roll call vote, Vice Chair Fong,
Aye.
Commissioner Galti,
Aye.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Aye.
Commissioner Tobias,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. It is 9:54, so shall we convene at 10 o'clock? 5, 6